This is part 2 of fraction, decimal, and percent equivalence. So let's look at our number routine. How do you know? This is a 10 by 10 grid, and it says, how do you know this is really 6%? Well, let's look. 6 of them are shaded out of 100. How would you write that as a decimal? 6 hundredths. And what is the definition of a percent? A percent is something per 100. Oh, it's right here. Something out of 100. Something over 100. So what number is over or out of or per 100? 6. So hence 600ths, 6%. So that's how I know this is equal to 6%. What happens if you had simplified 6/100 to 3/50th? Can you return this back into a percent? Again, a percent means anything per 100. So how can you build 3/50th back to 100? I multiply by the scale factor of 2 and I get 600 or 6%. The table shows the makeup of a New Year's Eve television show. What fraction of show will not be for the audience to speak? Well, 10% for introduction, 25% for skits, 45% for guests, and 20% is for guest participation. What fraction of the show will not be for? So all of these will not be for the audience to speak. So if you add 10 plus 25 is 35, plus 45, 35 plus 5 is 40, 80%. So 80% will not be used for the audience speaking engagement. Oh, I'm not done yet. What fraction? Oh, a percent mean again 80 hundredths. And do I want to write this as a decimal? I shall. 0 and 80 hundredths. Is it okay to write it as 0 and 8 tenths? Do they mean the same thing? Yes, they do. So 800. Could I simplify this? Yes, I could divide both numbers by 20 and I would get 4/5. So 80%, 80 hundredths, 8 tenths, 80 hundredths, and 4/5, they're all equivalent. So Mrs. Meyer baked her famous brownie. Of the 100 brownies, she plans to give 7/20th of the brownies to her student. Shade a grid below to represent the portion of the brownie that she plans to give away. So these two rows represent 20. She plans to give 7 of the 20 away. So 7 of this 20 away. So that's for this. This represents 20 right here. She plans to give 7 of the 20. So here's another group of 20. She plans to give 7 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's another group of 20. She plans to give 7 of the 20 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's another group of 20. She plans to give 7 of the 20 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's another group of 20. She plans to give 7 of those away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. She gave away 35 of the 100 brownies away. What is percent is that? 35%. How would you write 35 hundredths as a decimal? 35 hundredths. Could I have done it without the pictorial model? Again, in the previous lesson, if you do not remember, go to the fraction decimal percent part 1. But in the previous lesson, we know a percent is per 100. So how can I build scale forward 7/20th to 100? By 5. That's where I get 3500, 35%, or 35 hundredths. I, on the other hand, try to bake brownie. Of the 100 brownie, he plans to give away 3600 of the burnt brownies. So 10 hundredths, 20 hundredths, 30 hundredths, and 36 hundredths. He will call it dark chocolate. Kids won't know the difference. I don't know if you got the joke. But shade the grid below to represent the portion of the burnt brownie he plans to give away. I plan to give away 36 of the 100 or 36 hundredths. How would I write that as a decimal? 36 hundredths. And what percent is that? 36%, because again, a percent is anything per 100. So that's the answer. So we are going to be doing a survey in class as what is your favorite drink? Tea, cocoa, water, milk, and juice. We would tally the vote, and then we will calculate the fraction, decimal, and percent. So to convert a decimal into a percent, you need to know your place value. For example, this is 65 hundredths. This is 5 hundredths. This is 2 tenths or 20 hundredths. Again, what is the definition of percent? Anything per 100. So, what number do you see per 100? What number do you see per 100? What number do you see per 100? That is the percent. 65%, 5%, and 20%. So, in 2014, the number of people 65 years and older in Michigan was 1,300 of the total population. Complete the table. How would I write that as a fraction? 1,300. And what percent would that be? And again, what's the percent again? Anything per 100. So the percent must be 13%. 41 hundredths of Hawaii's total population is water. Complete the table. So that would be 41 hundredths. And what percent would that be? That would be 41% because it's anything over out of 100. Now let's see a little harder one. A player's batting average was 0 and 75 thousandths rounded to the nearest thousand. Complete the table. Well, first of all, this is 75 in the thousandths place. But what is a percent? A percent is anything per 100. Anything per 100. So how can I turn this 1,000 to 100? Do you know a pattern? I could divide by 10. So I can divide by 10. Hence, that would be 7 and 5 tenths. Some of you may say, to turn 1,000 to 100, I move the decimal 1 over. Move the decimal 1 over. That is why I got that. So the percent is 7 and 5/10%. Because a percent is anything per 100. Since this was not per 100, I had to break it down so it becomes per 100. So how did it turn 1,000 to 100? I divided by 10. 75 divided by 10 is 7 and 5/10. In a recent season, Jeremy Lin of the Brooklyn Nets had a free throw average of 4 tenths. Complete the table. So, what fraction is that? 4 tenths. But I need to turn that to a percent. Again, what is a percent? Anything per 100. So, what is the scale factor to turn that to 100? The scale factor is 10. So I multiply 10. 10 is 100. 4 and 10 is 40. So I get 40%. Did you know you could have done it as a shortcut? Could you have rewritten 4 tenths as 40 hundredths and you could have gotten the answer a little more efficiently faster? So last but not least, China accounts for 21 hundredths of the world's population. What percent does not live in China? Ooh, not live in China. Well, let's find this one, and then we can do the find the complement of that. So we know that's 21 hundredths, and that would be 21%. So this is the percent that lives in China. What does a percent add up to again? Equal to 100%. So 100 minus 21 would be 79%. Is it? Let's see. 21 plus 79 is 10 carried to 1. 100%. So the decimal would be 79 hundredths. and the fraction would be 79 hundredths. So that is the percent that do not live in China. That's one weird because, and I know India is the second largest country and it's almost the same size as China. So China and India account for almost about 40% of the world's population. So if you are given a percent, such as 28%, 6%, 80%, can you rewrite it in the fraction form? Yes, because no, a percent is anything per 100. And then from that, can you turn it to decimal? Yeah, using your place value, 28 hundredths, 6 hundredths, 80 hundredths. Because remember, place value goes from ones and tenths, hundreds. So according to the U.S. Census, 76% of the U.S. workers commute to work by driving alone. I know I do. So 76%. How would you write that as a fraction? Again, a percent is anything per 100. So 76 hundredths is the decimal equivalency. Well, let's make it a little harder. 5.5 and 2/10% of the U.S. population of the surface area of the United States is water. Complete the table. Well, the fraction would be 5 and 2/10 per 100. So, how would I write this as a decimal? How would I write this as a decimal? Well, several ways you can do it. We can divide these two numbers and get 5 and 2/10 divided by 100. Can 100 go in 5? 0 times. Bring down to 2. Can 100 go into 52 at 0 times? Annex another 0. Can 100 go into 520? 5 times. You subtract 520 minus 500, you get 20. Annex another 0. Can 100 go into 200? 2 times. So our decimal is 0 and 52 thousandths. That is a thing. Another way to do it is, well, we know we're dividing by 100. So if we're dividing by 100, is the answer going to get larger or smaller? It's going to get less than. So we move the place value 2 units to the left. Hence, we have this one. And another way to do it is this one. If I estimated 5 and 2/10 as 5%, that would be 5 hundredths. And how would you write 5 hundredths as a decimal? 0 and 5 hundredths. So 5 and 2/10 is just a tad bit 2/10 more than 5%. So we think. So many ways to do it. Some kids prefer dividing it. That's the mathematical reason why we're doing it. Some people see, well, I'm dividing by 100, so I know it's going to be 2 places to the left. I prefer the estimating. I know 5 and 2/10 is about 5%, so I write it as a fraction decimal, and I put the 2 to the thousandths place. So our last activity is you're going to be playing trash ball. So you're going to shoot 5 shots. You're going to shoot 3 shots, 20 shots, and 8 shots. And you're going to find your fraction, decimal, and percent. And this is our lesson over fraction, decimal, percent.